I'm gonna do a tier list of the UTG game modes. I've seen this happen like a bunch, where like people in UTG like have really, really strong opinions about like what modes are good and what aren't, and it's like, I mean, like I've heard people like give like threats over like not like wanting to, not like liking this mode. I've heard people like wanting, I don't know. It's just like I think that there was like a lot of like really like defensiveness that people like take on in like the game, which is like really not good. But I digress. I don't know. I think it'd be fun to like just like give an actual mode ranking with like actual like reasoning behind it, because I do have a lot to say about the modes. I've been playing the game for 2 years. I've kind of familiar like with like how like people like have complaints about the modes, because like many of them haven't changed over the years. It's only the new ones that have been changed that much. The old ones not really. They've mostly like stayed the same like mechanically wise, which is why I feel like it's very like easy, like there's like a very big like familiarity, and also like there's a lot of new audience with Recode, so it's like I want to like, I don't know, I just think it's like much better to just like have an actual opinion and like give actual thoughts on it, rather than just a pure tier list where you're just like, here's my opinion, and they're like, why do you do this, and I have to explain everything, right? So I would rather just have it just be a big explaining thing, but also I just think it's fun to just like actually like voice out what I think about each mode. It's really fun. Yeah, so the tier list is gonna be S, A, B, C, D, and then F. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the F tier modes, because like, unless like, I don't know, there's some stinkers in there that are like mostly legacy, but those are just because like they just have like one problem with them, right? But there are also other ones that like really stink. Just like, it's just not fun to play. I feel like if a mode isn't fun to play, it needs to be like below D. C is like, it's okay. I wouldn't like vote it as my favorite, but like I'm happy like when it's voted, right? D is like unhappy, and F is just like fucking unplayable. What is this shit? B is like the first sign of like a decent mode, and like A is a great, and then F is just one person, just my all-time favorite, which honestly I really have a hard time like actually talking about, because I don't really like to pick favorites with the modes. Like there are a lot of like, I wouldn't say there are any like standout good modes. It's just like what modes are like really fun and what modes are like sometimes, because they have like really high peaks, and that's kind of what I'm looking for in a mode, is just having peaks of like fun, right? Other than like just Ash. I'm not gonna do it by tier list order, because then I have to like list everything out beforehand. I'd just rather just go right ahead. So first mode is classic. Classic is a fun one, because like you get a lot of like complaints about classic, because unlike other modes, it doesn't have like a sense of progression. All that happens in classic is you're either runner or attacker. It's pretty much the most basic form of attack. That's why it's classic. But because of this lack of progression, like a lot of people really think it's boring, which I think is honestly fair. Because like a lot of the things with like these like modes where you like swap with the role that you've tagged, is that people really like to go for very easy kills, because like why would you go for a hard kill if you can get the same amount of reward for less effort, right? That's just, so as a consequence of that, right, if you're like out of the way or like in a really high place and there's no taggers around you, you're pretty much safe for like the rest of the game, because how it works is that it's really like unbiased towards big maps. Like if you have a lot of like people that are in a place that are like relatively inaccessible, it's really like hard to actually reach them. That's the thing with like most modes that involve swapping, is that it's like very geared towards like smaller type maps. Not like, I mean, I guess, yeah, I think No, 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 no. Playground is kind of good for classic. I don't know because playground has a fucking sky roof. Who does? I don't know because that's also like relatively accessible. You can just kind of just get there and like. I mean, if you're just down in class, you can win other than like one person just wants to ruin your day. I mean, like in public servers, right? I think the most enjoyment you'll get is tagging people in, just tagging runners who just don't think they're just like sitting around there, because you get that like sense of like really fun surprise from them that is just like, oh my god, you're here now. Like I think that's the most fun you'll ever, not the most fun, but it's just like sometimes I would like willingly turn myself into a tagger if I'm like given the runner immediately. Yeah. But like that's in the case of public servers. In private servers, classic is a whole nother server because it's like it's kind of the definitive like 1v1 mode. Like one, like if you have two people, three people, that's when you get the best out of classic, because there's a lot less like separation between the people, right? Like if you're only focused on like one or two people to tag, then it's like less, like I feel like the best type of like 3-person mode is like maybe crown or classic. Like those are really good for 3 people. Yeah, but it's just like those, the smaller, the less people there are in classic, the more fun it is. And I think a part of that is not because of, but like there's another thing, right? Is that like modes scale based on like the time, the length of a mode scales with the people, and that also applies to classic, which is like if there's no progression, then like what's the point for balancing if it's always going to be the same thing? That's like, I don't know, I feel like there should always just be a set time for classic. That's just my one complaint, really. But like it's just kind of there. Like if you want to like take a break from a mode, that's a really good like break, right? But it's not really anything to, like call home to. I mean, yeah, but like I wouldn't say I voted over like other modes. Like if there's more exciting modes, I would probably vote over that. But classic is fine on its own. If it's like voted, maybe sometimes I'll be like, oh no, not classic, but like otherwise it's not like bad, you know? I think it's like overall like a C tier, you know? Yeah, I'd say C tier. Fuck, do I gotta do misprint? I guess I should do like the misprints of the mode. Just for size. Not for size, but just like just the misprints in general. Disguised Classic. Disguised Classic is another one from Legacy. The original B-side. I have a lot of thoughts on Disguised Classic, because I was the one who originally suggested it, but I'm like, no one cares about that, so I'm just like, yay, I suggested it, and it's like, okay, like no one really like pays attention to it, because it's like it's really self-indulgent to say that, but I just like remembering that, and so like I feel this like kind of like attachment to it, not really though, but Disguise Classic, it has a lot going for it, right? The hidden role idea works really well, because like it's based off of like real tech, where you're like the golden moments when you're like surprising someone as a tagger gets even more heightened, because like you don't know if they're a tagger or not, but it's like that kind of like is like scariness about like you don't know who a tagger is kind of like goes away when you realize that like runner, I mean like you get feeling from like, not feeling, but it's like there's a lot of enjoyment to be had from just like faking being a tagger, even though taggers can like definitely like see who's runner and who's not. Like if you, I think it's really funny to be a runner and then chase after other runners and then just hear them just like screaming for their lives. I think that's really funny. Not hear them, but it's just like just see them run away. I think that's a really fun part about Disguise Classic. I think Disguise Classic is mostly just the surprise of knowing that someone's a tagger, or knowing that someone's like betraying you. Like that's mostly part of it. There's not really any like formal hidden role parts where you're like actually like trying to deduce. I feel like if you're deducing who's the tagger, that makes it less fun, sort of. But it's just, I don't know, it's just classic with more of that eccentric parts. It's like the same thing. A thing I would really want for Disguise Classic though is that like all the taggers at the end of the game get revealed, because like if you're doing like this classic and private servers, like that's not gonna be very fun if you're just like, oh, the game's over. Who won? I don't know. Like there should. I mean, like if wins are telegraphed, I'm fine. Not fine. I would really like them to be telegraphed, but like because you'd only like telegraph like a single amount of people, like a like if you're only gonna display like one or two people that are winning, that's fine. But it was like I would really like it if like at the 0 mark all the taggers just became like normal taggers and they become red, and it's like who's really the tagger. I feel like that's mostly for like 3 people, or I guess Disguise Classic really only has value in larger servers as opposed to Classic, because you don't have that like sense of like immunity. I feel like that's a really big part of Classic that really like drives it down, but it's not that there in Disguise Classic, because like sometimes like a fellow runner can also like join you in your little hiding spot. That's not really, that causes paranoia in Disguise Classic, which I think is fun, but it's like if you're like really separated, that still doesn't like really help. But I feel like Disguise Classic really doesn't have isn't really like viable for private servers, mainly because of the lack of any like reveal at the end. Like I think that's a really important part. But otherwise, it's like kind of like on the same level of Classic. Like it does a lot more, or a bit more, but it's like the not reveal thing is kind of just like, I'm thinking about it now. It's not really doing a lot for it. Like it's just kind of just there. Like what's the point if you're not gonna know who the attacker is at the end? You know, like what did I do all this for if I'm just like you know like. I'd say like same tier as Classic, maybe higher, just because it's just like there's a more of a thrill sense. Like even if you're doing it new because it's a misprep, but like there's a kind of more of a thrill sense. But it's still C, right? It's just like right above. They're like next door neighbors. Speed Classic. Oh my god, Speed Classic. What do I do with you? Speed Classic is honestly fun because it like comes from the funny bomb, where like the bomb is like a lot faster. The thing is with that is that like that's like on an idea sense, it like removes the sort of like distance you have, but usually like if you're in a higher place, right, if you're on a map that's like much more delicate to like actually like get to, like if you're on a map that's like really easy to fall down, that's really bad for Speed Classic. Like Esfoth. No, there's no Esfoth in Recode. What am I talking about? What's a map that's like that? Maybe Rocket Arena. I feel like Rocket Arena is not that good for Speed Classic, mainly because with the high speed you can really just like bumble, and then like you'd have to like recover a lot. But I feel like conceptually it's really fun, like a really fun mix up of Classic. I just like, it's just kind of like the thing is I haven't played much of it, so like I don't have that much of a sense of an idea. But like the biggest thing is like it's like large NTB, which is like, I get why it's kind of there, but it's just like it's not necessary, because like a lot of the times you'll be out of control anyways, where you'll have a natural buffer to like tag people. I feel like, I don't know, with like Speed Classic, you'll the NTB, the really high NTB really doesn't make sense. Like even though it says no tag back, it's like, why though? You know? Like that's another like private server thing where it's like if you're in a private server and you're doing Speed Classic, that's not gonna be very fun if you have like 10 seconds, or like I don't know how long the NTB is, but it's like a really long NTB. It's very long. I think that kind of drives it down a bit, mostly. But I get what they're doing, and like you gotta go to someone else. It's just not that good for like the private server aspect, which I think is like the biggest aspect of Classic in general, because it's kind of like the only, as a like a mode, like no progression, it's kind of the only one viable for like endless, not endless, but just like private server sessions. It's kind of lower. I think it's like on the same level as Classic, honestly. I think all of them are in the same boat. Maybe it's more fun just because of the speed. I don't know though. Like, maybe I don't know what I'd put in it. Honestly, what would I put it in Speed Classic? Fucking maybe C. Honestly, I mean, I like it better than most, right? But it's still kind of there. It's still classic at the end of the day. I'd say it's like C tier, but it's like speed disguised classic. Oh, maybe. Maybe. I think that's all I have to say for speed classic, honestly. Comp. Competitive is it's got a really fun history and legacy where it's like it's kind of the only mode in Rico that's like completely different because of how legacy is, with comp being like straight up just infected because Riker doesn't know how to do game modes in 2032. But I mean, like, honestly, I would really like to see like comp infected become a misprint. Honestly, like just tangent aside, I would really like to see comp infected become a misprint because like, it's genuinely like really solid. Like, if you have infected without like the stat decreases and also like the 3 hits, I think that's like a really good balancing. Like, it's pretty damn solid. Like, you should really put them in, Riker, if you're hearing this, please. Actually, I don't think anyone's gonna listen this far, are they? It's been a while, hasn't it? But comp, I think, is really... what do I say about comp? The biggest thing about comp is that you can just hold Tagger and then win. Like, that's an inherent flaw with, like, how the mode is set up. And, like, getting around that isn't the easiest thing in the world. Like, you'd have to do, like, a lot to get around that issue and then still kind of make it work. Like, I get why it's not there, why the fix is not there, but it's just still, like, you can just, like, stay as a tagger for the entire game and then you'll be fine. Like, I feel like that's kind of my biggest issue. Like, I don't like a mode that just incentivizes you to just, like, sit still and do nothing. That's also, like, an issue a lot of people have with, like, B-Crown. Tangent from Legacy, where if you get tagged, you're fucking dead, which is like ooh. A lot of people don't like that, even though like someone suggested like what is essentially just B crown, and then like everyone was like, oh my god, we need this in the game immediately, and I was like, no, that I don't get their tastes. I don't get like why they think this is good, like conceptually, because like in practice it's not. Like, it sounds good on paper, but it's just like in general it's not. And I think that's kind of the thing in comp, where it's like if you list out like how it works and shit, it sounds really good. But I feel like its biggest weakness is the fact that you just kind of like overdo it by just like waiting till the end and then tag to win, which is a mode that a lot of swap modes have, just inherently. I don't really know how you'd get around that though. Maybe I should do more thinking about it, but like it's a really tough problem. And then quick comp, honestly, deadass like quick comp feels a lot more strong for mode than actual comp, because you don't have the 3 lives, because of the fact that you're waiting to tag someone is like really like it's very hard to like actually exhaust your 3 lives unless you suck, which means unless you're like me. But I think quick comp is a lot better to like actually like accentuate the death part. Like, if it were up to me, I would probably make quick comp the normal mode, even though it's like there's a couple parts of it that is like, yeah, this is definitely like quickie. But it's honestly alright. I feel it's definitely an improvement from quick comp, like from normal comp, just from my case, because I feel like it's very hard to like actually start losing people in comp unless like you fucking suck. Like, if you're not playing the game in comp, you're winning. But in quick comp, that's not really the case. Like, unless you're given tagger at the start and you just wait. Like, not really. Because there's no, like, urgency to, like, actually tag people. I think that's my biggest reason. Maybe it's, like, 15 seconds. No, this is toxic. Maybe, like, 15 seconds in time. But that's another can of worms that would be really not the best for tag and all. I think comp is honestly comp is honestly the same level as classic. I'd feel like maybe a bit below. Where do I put comp? This is kind of the same thing, but it's just like I guess it's more maybe below speed classic, and then quick comp is like actually like solidly B tier because I kind of like B comp a bit. I mean, like decently, decently. I like quick comp. I'm a quick comp enjoyer, certified quick comp enjoyer. Flame me in the comments. No, I'm not doing a YouTube video. What the fuck am I doing? Okay. Bomb. Alright, that's the next one, right? I don't actually know. I think so, right? Maybe. Okay. Bomb. Bomb is, oh my god, a lot of people fucking hate Bomb, which I get why, because there's like, it's an elimination style mode, so you're just kind of like sitting there for like most of the game mode. But like, if you can actually like, I mean, like, if you're losing constantly in Bomb, that's kind of your fault, but I also guess why it's kind of frustrating, because like, by design, you're just sitting there for like half the mode, and that's like, it's not gonna be any fun, is it? But I think Bomb is like honestly really solid as a mode, just like mechanically. Like, of course, it's like built for like higher server sizes, but like for those servers, it's really fun to like have that actual sense of adrenaline because you have such a low timer. Right, I feel like the adrenaline is the biggest part of why I think Bomb is like really good. I feel like Bomb's probably like an A tier sort of, like just because of like how exciting it is and like consistently. Like, I mean, like if you're not feeling it, if you're like, I don't want to play this mode and just sit out there, yeah, and of course you're not gonna have fun. But like if you're actually like in it, it's like if you're like feeling it, feeling like the actual like desire to win, that's like really fun. I don't care that you're not like giving rewards, but I've like, oh my god, I've like got completely went over rewards. I don't give a shit about the rewards anymore. Like, really, all I want to do in tag is just get dingas and just be done with my day. Like, I'm not the type to grind coins. Fuck that. The bomb is like a pretty solid mode. Funny bomb. Funny Bomb is that's a really like new one in Legacy. That's like one of the lighter modes in Legacy, but like it's really solid for like what it is. Like, I feel like with Funny Bomb, it works well on smaller maps, but like if you're Funny Bomb on fucking Faction Action, you're fucked. Like, it's really bad for the big maps that are like Chaos Canyon or like if you're on Santa Stronghold Faction Action, something like that, you're fucked. You're dead. Like, it's a lot more RNG based, but I feel like the 5 minutes definitely does a lot. It's like brief enough just to the point where like if you really don't care, you can just not care at all, because like it's very hard with high speed on like less easy to navigate maps. Like, it's very easy to like miss and then just die from getting the Funny Bomb. But like the 5 seconds is like really, really fun if you're on a good map and like you have people who are decent at the game. Like, it's really fun. Because it's so like it's kind of like Bullet Bomb, honestly. Like a Bullet Chest, if it was Bomb, it's really fun. Like, if in the right circumstances, it's really fun. In other circumstances, not really. RNG Bomb, it's a joke. It's just kind of there. I don't care for RNG Bomb. I like it as an idea. Just like experiencing it in an actual public lobby is kind of beyond me. Like, honestly, like it's just there, like funny RNG Bomb. Whoa, guess I'm dead. I don't know. It's just it's just kind of there. I don't know. Funny Bomb probably goes in like, I think Bomb is definitely A tier. Funny Bomb? That's like maybe B. RNG Bomb is honestly like C or D tier, because it's just like, it's not a mode.
Like, you can't do anything. It's just not. It's just there. Like, I think it's funny as an idea. It's like seeing it in an actual like. The thing is, like, if it was like Tagman exclusive, I think it would be really fun just for like the shock value. Like, this is like, oh, this is nothing. Like, if you have admin, like Funny Bomb and RNG Marble are honestly like really fun to like troll a server with. Like, this is what Tag needs. Tag needs like fucking admin modes that are like just fucking horrible, that like a server just has to sit through when like a fucking admin like does the game. Like, that's kind of the thing. RNG Bomb is really fun for admin. As a normal mode that you like encounter normally, it's like I get the shock value. It's there, you know. I guess it sort of has the feeling where it's like it's naturally occurring, but it's like, I don't know, like there needs to be more like admin shenanigans that could be fun, because like genuinely like being able to shenanigan with admins is like a really fun part of Tag. That's like, if you're witnessing it, it's like really, really awesome. Not awesome, but it's just like, this is just horrible, and that's good, you know. That's like fun. Subspace Bomb, the first new misprint of Recode. Oh my god. I think Subspace Bomb is honestly higher than Bomb. Maybe not S tier. I think it definitely solves a lot of Bomb's issues. I feel like Subspace Bomb really works in its favor though. Like, maybe it has the same vibe as the Skies Classic, where you're like, you don't know what's going on. I just think the Pink Flame doesn't really do a lot for it. Like, I get why it's there, but it's like, I can see the color pink. I'm not colorblind. I can see it. You know? Like, it definitely, like, ruins a lot of the magic for me when I originally heard it. Or it's like, you're completely invisible. Like, I would really like it if you were completely invisible. That would be really fun. Maybe, like, the pink... I don't know. Does it go away when you're far enough? I don't know. I haven't checked. I don't want to check. Honestly, just, like, conceptually wise, it's like... I feel like I put in the same vein as like this guy's Classic against Classic with Bomb. So it's like just like the same tier, just kind of like neighbors to each other, because it's like really similar. I feel like it adds a lot more to like the adrenaline though. Like it adds so much more like flair to Bomb than Sky's Classic does Classic, if you know what I mean. It's really fun. Or yeah, I mean, like, conceptually it's really fun. It's just that, like, if you don't have good players, you know, it's like, that's kind of the dominoes, isn't it? Hot Potato. What do I say against Hot Potato? I feel like with why Bomb is so, like, energy-inducing is the fact that you know when the timer is in. But, like, when you take that away, it kind of loses the value of dying. Like... even though you're basically, like, of course you're gonna have to go, like, get rid of it, like, eventually, but it's, like, I feel like Hot Potato would work in a lot of other scenarios, like, maybe if it was, like, Comp, you know? Like, what if it was Hot Potato with, like, 3 lives? That would be fun, because it also, like, removes the issue that Comp has, where it's, like, you can just sit there and, like, you just win the game, but I feel like if you could, like, combine Hot Potato with Comp, it would be really... like, I feel like that would be a really good combo. Hot Potato on itself, I feel like it's just like, it's just sort of there. Like, what can I say about it, though? Like, I think Hot Potato is, like, it's kind of fun on its own. It's just fine. Like, I'd put it C, honestly. Like, but you could do a lot with Funny, but with Hot Potato, if you're, like, I'm gonna, like... make it's gonna be like not like everyone's given the bomb at the same time. You can do like they all die at separate times. That would be really fun. Or like make it feel a lot more fluid, because it removes a lot of the weight that normal bombs have, which I guess is kind of a good thing, but it's also like it removes a lot of like the tension. So it's like when you're tired, right? When you're tired and you find it's like, oh no, I'm gonna die. I don't know. And I feel like maybe that's like it's just kind of a sudden death, which I feel like a lot of people like really don't like, and that's like really fair. Crown. Yeah, I'd said like C tier for hot potato, right? Yeah, Crown. Crown is a silly mode. Ugh. Oh my god, I have so much to say about Crown, especially like how it's treated in the Recode community, where it's like the mode that's been like played for like forever. Like literally, name me one person. Name me like one person who hasn't seen Crown be given like 37 fights. It's like it's fucking absurd. Like Crown like has a reputation in the community at this point where it's like kind of the tryhard mode. Either like honestly, I feel like that should go to bomb. Like that's the OG tryhard mode. Like that's the OG mode where it's like if you win bomb, you're good at the game because like it's just a lot more balanced. Bomb is a lot more balanced than Crown just naturally. Crown, I mean, like, you're gonna be biased if you're gonna, like, see the same mode being played, like, 7 times over. Like, I get why people don't like it. Like, oh my god, there's also that thing of just, like, people just vote the same shit over again. Like, especially new lobbies. Like, why you gotta vote the same mode over and over again? Like, what? Do you have no, like, taste? Or, like, do you just want to have one thing over and over again? Are you, like, autistic? Like, what is it? Actually, I shouldn't say that. That's bad. But I feel like there's a lot of people who are, like, autistic and, like, I only want Crown. Like, I think that's a genuine thing people think. Not really, though, but I feel like at this point, like, they should just add, like, a Crown-only server and, like, leave it at that. Like, if you really want Crown, you can just have Crown right here. Like, because it's gone to, like, such an obnoxious point of, like, everyone's just fucking voting this map. Like, it's not fun when you're playing the over and over again. Fuck, I'm slurring my words. Am I tired? How long have I been doing this for? Oh, I've been going at this for, like, 30 minutes, god. And I'm not even, like, halfway through the mode. Oh, goodness. How long have I been yapping for? Oh, god. Okay, but Crown is I think you try it, man. Like, it's got the same symptoms of Jug, where it's like most people just don't get to, like, actually get the Crown. I mean, like, it's hectic, right? It's fun as a hectic mode when you're in a really tight map where, like, there's not a lot of, like, room to go on. But, like, if you're in a big map, you're just kind of stuck there chasing them, you know? It's just like, whoa, come over here. There's not really, like, a room for, like, cut-offs, which I think cut-offs are fun. Like, if you actually do cut-offs, like, that's, like, the best thing for Crown. You gotta be prepared for cut-offs, like, deadass. Like, I feel like a thing that would really benefit Crown is, like, just, like, giving the Crown more knowledge of where peasants at. Maybe, like, highlights? I don't know what that would do to Crown, though, like, in general. But I feel like it would be a lot more fair if, like, they couldn't, like, get surprised. Because, like, again, a lot of people think that, like, a lot of people say, like, end of the match, like, last minute tags, if you've got, like, the Crown for, like, the entirety of the game and then you get it stolen, that's really stinky. Like, not stinky, but, like, that's gotta feel really bad. I feel really bad for them. Like, God knows, like, what it's like to be that. Yeah, I really feel like time Crown mode is, like, pretty overdue because, like, it's all been on 90 over, like, a really long time. And, like, a lot of people, there's a lot of demand for it. Like, you just put it in because, like, getting points and, like, getting, like, timed is just going to be better for the game in general because it just gives more, like, potential for new modes to occur. So I'd rather you do it sooner than later because it's, like, if you have that thing, like, built in from the start, that's going to be, I don't know. Crown itself is like, it has a lot of the adrenaline that you get when you're actually when you actually steal the Crown. But there's a lot more of the issues. There's a lot more issues in Bomb, other than, like, you know, elimination. But you at least have, like, opportunity to get the Crown at any point. But it's just, like, there's a lot more iffiness to Crown
just like inherently from its structure. Like, I'm not even like gonna mention the fucking resetting thing. Like, that's this whole can of worms. It can be easily fixed. I don't know why they haven't. Like, literally reset in Crown in front of Riker, and he didn't even fix it. He just like, I don't think he even paid attention to it. Like, the devs know. Why haven't they fixed it yet? I don't know. Ugh. But it's just a whole shebang. Solo Crown, honestly, it's like, I get what it's going for, like, everyone versus one person. I see how it's, like, very adrenaline, but it's, like, I think it's just a lot, you have a lot less variation. I feel like, it's not, like, I don't know, there's nothing where, like, base crown is, like, 5 people with 35 people. Like, 15% is kind of a lot of people. Like, if you're only going for, like, 1, 2, or 3, like, I feel like the golden number is still 3. Like, I feel like that's really high for Jug. 3 people is really high for Jug. I think it should be 2 at most. But Crown, I think, is, like, 3 or 4. Like, that's the biggest. Like, genuinely. Not 4 then. No, I genuinely think it's 3. Like, having 3 crowns go around. No, but the solo crown, it definitely feels a lot more, like, linear and static, because, like, people don't know how to do cutoffs. Like, you have to understand, crowns have a natural, like, unless you do, like, really good, like, rolls and shit, and, like, the crown, like, is, like, really shit, you're gonna tag them, of course, but it's, like, if you're gonna be, like, in the actual, like, crowds, like, following them everywhere you go, I guess, like, you're hoping for them to, like, slow down, but it's like, do what's cut off. Like, that's gonna be better if they're just gonna be, like, running in a circle. Like, at this point, But I think Crown is, like, really good for, like, just the spectacle, you know? Like, I think it's a really good spectacle mode because, like, you get these, like, really good YouTube moments from solo Crown and Crown, and that really can't be possible with any other mode. Unless, like, I guess Bomb. But Bomb is more, like, 1v1 focus. Crown has more of, like, I'm the winner. Because, like, you're a lot more fragile. You're, like, probably the most fragile you're ever going to be. Unless... No, you're just fragile constantly. And I think that's, like... If you're the Crown, you have the most fragility ever. Like... I feel like that's a good part of, like, why Crown is such a big spectacle, because, like, overcoming those feats, you're given the biggest adversity, you're given, like, the biggest roadblock, and, like, overcoming that is, like, really impressive. And I get why that's, like, the YouTube one, like, the one that, like, the YouTubers all focus on. But honestly, I just, like, as a mode, I don't, like, enjoy that much. Like, especially on big maps, like, faraway glass houses, it's okay. Like, I'd put a BB, you know? Solo Crown. Solo Crown's gonna be, like, lower than Crown, but it's still B, you know? Guarded Crown. I mean, like, really, like, who am I kidding? Guarded Crown is just fucking Power Crown, but with, like, dedicated guards. I feel like it's, like, kind of slasher, but Crowny. I don't know. I think the swords, like, for the first mode to actually have swords in it, I think it's pretty good use, because Claymore has, like, a really high swing cooldown. A really high swing cooldown stat. Which makes it really easy to, like, actually kill people. It's not, like, as lungy as the Link sword. I just think you should really do fucking Power Crown. Like, at this point, just do Power Crown. Like, it's so easy. Like, it's probably the best crown misprint out of any of them, and it's not, like, in any of them. So just do Power Crown. Oh my god. Like, oh my god. I'm a fucking Power Crown, like, fan. I'm a stan. I'm here for Power Crown any day. Like, I'm a fucking Power Crown fangirl. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. That's just how I be. It's just that it's, like, guarded crown is just sort of like, if you're the guard, like, what can you do against the peasant? I guess you can kind of fight back. I guess there is that, right? Like, you can fight back against them. I just feel like it has a bit of variety, but not that much. Like, if you're a guard, you're pretty much just killing them, and there's not, like, a lot of worth to protecting the crown. You're just kind of just killing them. while they're doing this. It's just kind of like crown, but there's another thing to do, which I feel like doesn't really have that much value other than power crown, which I really want to talk about power crown. Garter crown's probably like a higher, like is it higher than card? I feel like it's really higher than card because like if you're actually given the card, then that's like really fun. And like if you're present, you actually have a thing to do other than chase the crown, you know? So I think that just gives it a little bit more value. Not that much though. Like it really doesn't get that much value. But it's, I don't know, it's just I haven't played that mode much, so I don't really know much to say about it. Power crown though. Oh my fucking god, please add power crown into the game, please. It is like genuinely the best crown misfortune, like in the game. This is probably the best misfortune ever, just because it's like, it's such a small change, but it does so much. Like power crown is so fun for 1v. I get the feeling that like power crown is just like Garter crown, but more like private server friendly. Not just that, but it's just like, I feel like if you want the crowns to actually be protected, you should make them able to be protecting themselves, you know? Maybe they should have the ability to protect themselves. And I feel like the two-way system is a really good system for crown. I don't get why they haven't put it in yet. Like, oh my god. And don't even get me started on the other one. The B-side. The current B-side that they get. That's a whole nother thing. Like, I guess I could talk about it, but that's not like a really recode mode. That's more of a legacy mode. It's just like, it's just so wonky. Like, I can't think. Okay. What's next? Oh, we got Infected. Infected is a silly mode. This is another one of those like core pillar modes in tag that's just kind of like, you can't not have Infected, right? You can't not have that mode in tag, because that's like, well, that's the biggest tag thing you're ever gonna have. It's I think my biggest issue with that is that you don't have good stats as the Infected. Like, I don't get why they're there other than like chaos balancing, but there's no reason to have chaos balancing in like normal tag if it isn't gonna affect like the entire if it isn't gonna affect the entire mode by itself. Like, because you have a system in like recode where it's like a given role can have different stats per mode, and that's like really cool. But it's just like, I don't get why it's so slow to move in effect. I guess that's just because there's like so many people, but I feel like that really like removes its value. Like, Infected needs a misprint where it's just like normal, you have normal stats as the Infected. Like, do fucking comp Infected. That would be really cool. Turn like original comp into like an Infected misprint. Please just do that. Please, please, please. For the love of God, please. I would love that. Infected is fine. Like, it also has a lot of that like you versus everyone vibe that's like has the same like type of adversity as crown. It's not like general, and that also like, it just depends on like if the lobby's actually good. Like, if you get a really good runner or like a really good tagger, I feel like Infected it becomes good. But like if all the runners suck, then it's just kind of like a, you know, like, what's the point? You're just kind of like just there, just get it over with, you know, done and dusted. I feel like it's a really good mode to like actually like, farm tags though, because like you get the feeling where you're just like tagging everyone left and right. I think that's a really good feeling for tag, to be able to just tag people constantly. I feel like Infected is the best gateway to do that. Like, it's not an elimination, right? You don't die, so you can kind of just, well, I guess it kind of is, but it's like you're more likely to get the Infected role, because that's like where 90% of the people are going. So if you get like tagged early, like you can enjoy a lot of the like just the tagging sprees, which I feel like is the best part of Infected. Like, other than running, running is just like, if you just go to a high place, you're fine. Like, genuinely, I guess that's the thing you can say with like a lot of other modes, is that it's like, if you're in like isolated and like normal crown, you're just kind of, you can just keep the crown. Like, no one will care, because they'll just go for the one next to them. So that's a thing. For bomb, that's also another like really big point, and then also for infected. Like the most people I see people survive from infected is if they're like just like in a really high place, like sand strongholds, like a little peaky thing, like stuff like that. The miss. Oh, I guess I should like do a tier, put it on a tier list. Did I remember to put Carded Crown? I think yeah, I did. I would say it's B. Higher than Crown in general. It's just like, it's okay. It's just like I've lost a lot. My like a good opinion on that. It's like it's a good mode. It's just decent. Like I definitely felt a lot better about it previously. Not anymore though. Like it's alright, I suppose. It's just kind of there. What's another one? Oh, the misprints, of course. Mutant Effect is a really fun infect mode because it is. I feel like I would kind of call it like a Chaos Light, where it also has that like billions of rolls type thing, but it's like restricted to infected, which I honestly think Chaos should be that. Like, tangent aside, Chaos is very weird mechanically. Like, I feel like if you don't engineer rolls based off of win conditions, like Chaos really doesn't have that much to it. I don't know. Maybe I should talk about Chaos when we actually get to Chaos. Maybe I'll save that for later. Mutant Infected is honestly really fun concept, but it really depends on like if you're gonna get a good like roll or not. Like fucking baby zombies fun. Like baby zombies is fun conceptually. I don't know how good he is to play. It's just I feel like it's very fun to see all these like silly infecteds. Like if I were to call this mode anything, it would be silly infected because it's just infected, but the zombies are silly. Like I'm sorry, that's just what it is. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. It's just silly infected. I really like the 3 hits, or is it 2 hits? Like the 3 hit 2 hit to kill. Mainly because I'm just really big fan of like comp infected. That sort of idea. I do like giving the patient 0 a 1-hit kill though. That gives it so much more value than like actual infected. Like that's really good. The actual like infected variants though are like, there's a lot of I don't know, like whenever I play mutant infected, I'm just like I want to get a really good infected, so I just like willingly like hand myself over to like actually get a good one. But they themselves don't really have that much of like a difference. I feel like if there were a lot more like infected variants, then this would probably be more finer mode. Like I feel like mutant infected is the type of mode that should get more tag, not more tags, but more rolls. Like it should get more rolls over time to be updated because like there's a lot of ideas you can really do for it. Like this is what I was thinking for. Not what I was thinking for, but this is the kind of just core idea where like if you have a lot of these modes that just have a lot of potential to like just add new roles to the modes. Like Mutant Infected is one of these modes that you can just like keep adding rolls to it and it'll still be fun because you just have a lot of variety in the back. It's like a variety bag, it's silly. I really like the patient hero 1-hit kill thing. I think that like adds a lot of value to it. I feel like just because of that, like actually getting the infected variants doesn't really mean that much. Like in the grand scheme of things, I think it's like is a lot funner to have these like buffs though. Or just have these like just you feel a lot more special. I feel like that's what I'm trying to say. I guess like that's a lot of the other modes that are good. Like, you just feel special. Like Crown's the ultimate special mode. Everyone wants to be special. That's why they're fighting for the crown. You could, yeah. But Mutant Effect, I feel like it's like higher than Infected. Like I feel like there's I don't know, maybe later on, but like now there's not really like any actual misprints that are like really far from their parents, I'd say. Medic Infected. Medic Infected is so iffy because it's like I
I feel like it's much better than normal infected. It's more it's much better than like a legacy is medic infected because it's like legacy is medic infected. It's just not well balanced at all. It's just like infected, but you get undone. So it's like Sisyphus sort of. It's like your work is just getting undone. So like, what's the point in like doing anything? And you can't even like kill the medic infected. Like, what even? I don't know. I just want to kill the medic infected. Man, he's so annoying. Why you gotta be like this, man? And like, there's another thing where it's like, medics can really only like kill like people who are like willing to get taxed. That means like they're not going to be any use. So it's like you have like even less people, and like they're getting undone. So it's like, what's the point? Like it's just a lot very stacked. I think it does a lot better. It does a better job in Recode where you have like the sick people who are becoming sick, and the medic infected has to cure them. That kind of like. It's a lot hard. It's still very hard to like actually infect people, which I feel like is the point. It's like if you pair being able to cure them in time, and then also being able to kill the PC, I feel like that's kind of poopy. Like honestly, I don't know. Like the PC isn't really that much, but I guess being chased is like something. You know, I don't play these modes much, so I don't really know where I put it. I just think my views on it are like kind of mixed. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of decent. I would probably put it. I would put it below normal infected just because like its bigger complications means that it's like because it's so skewed for the runners. I feel like there's a bigger like sense of like. This doesn't really matter, does it? Maybe a bit lower than some of the crown misprints, but not that much. Like maybe above solo crown, I'd say. What haven't I done yet? Where's some other ones? Slasher. I haven't done Slasher. Slasher's really fun as a slasher. Like, that's probably the most fun you're gonna have in tech. Because you're just killing everyone. It's not like one hit kill where you just bada bing, bada boom. You got 2 hit kills, so there's a lot more, like, nuance in, like, people actually, like, being able to get away. As a survivor, I don't know. I feel like Slasher is really unpopular because it's so unperformant. It also has a lot of the same issues as like normal tag, where you just kind of like if you're in a really safe place, you're not gonna get hit a lot. Like, I don't know. Slasher just isn't like. It's like another one of the core modes. It's just like I think it's just alright, you know, like maybe if you couldn't see other people's flashlights, like. Only as a slasher you can see other people's flashlights, but it's like as a performance issue, like I feel like it's a lot more like easier to actually play slasher when you can only see your own flashlight. Like I feel like that's the thing. I don't know. I do also think that like people really like it first like atmosphere in general. But like, it's maybe this is like a side effect because I've like talked about this stuff for like so long, but it's like usually in Slasher I'm like sort of underwhelmed, especially like as a survivor. Like I feel like because you don't know, you feel that you're waiting like a lot more because you can't look at them and like know when they're coming. So there's a lot like longer. There's a lot of a longer feeling of wait. I feel like waiting for a slasher to come and just like actually like gets things over with. Like I really feel like I don't know if I should be saying this, but I feel like 16-player servers should be a thing again. Like I feel like a lot of these modes like really suffer because of the large amount of people, because like you can just be forgotten like by the taggers very often as like a runner or like a survivor, especially if there isn't a lot. Like a slasher's just a constant team of people. So there's gonna be some time before you actually like get killed. I feel like the most interesting slashers is in like if you've only got like a slight number of people. When there's like bigger servers, I feel like, how do I say this? I feel like the team isn't enough. Like there should be more slashers in slasher, which I feel like isn't that big of an issue, but it's just like there's not that much going for you when you're a survivor. Like it's essentially it's a lot funner when you're a slasher, or like it's a lot funner when you know you're being chased, you know? If you don't know you're being chased and you're just kind of just there, essentially that feeling just sort of like simmers over time, you know? If you don't know. But being a slasher in slasher is really dang fun. Like probably the most fun you're gonna have in actually like any tag, just because like you have so much power, sorta. I guess that's just kind of feeling. I guess I should also go into like haunted slasher. That's the misprint, because like really I feel like what haunted slasher boils down to is a more egregious form of slasher, because it's essentially just like slasher, but there's less slashers. Like I don't get why there's less slashers. I don't know. I feel like the less amount of slashers really doesn't work in his favor, because like giving hunters juggernaut damage, like 5 damage, like it really sucks. Like it's not. I don't really think a hunter's ever gonna be useful, like ever. Like it was like an 1/8 damage, and then it got even lower. Like he lowered it. It got lowered in recode, and that just make it like 4 hits or something. Like make it so that they can still kill them. Okay. Like feasibly, make it like 6 hits, 4 hits. I don't care. Just don't make it like so absurdly low where you're just like basically useless, and you're essentially like supposed to just like kill someone. Because like I get the idea that it's like Hunter is like supposed to like swarm survivors. The issue is that like Hunter, it's not like Juggernaut where it's like in the early game, right? There's not that much Hunters. So Hunters are kind of useless except for in the end game. But like when you've got a lot of Hunters and just one survivor, the slasher's just gonna kill them anyway. So it's like, what's the point of being a Hunter if you can't even like kill people? Like make it 4 kills or 4 hits or something, so like a Hunter can still like feasibly like finish off a survivor, not like 8 hits or 10 hits, like 20 hits. I don't even know it's 20. Maybe like, I think it's 10. I think it's 10 hits, which is really not like. I just make it higher, please, or just like make it so there's just more slashers to begin with. I mean, like if there's not gonna be as many like slashers, just make it higher, okay? Like it's such an easy fix. Like that's genuinely what I think would make haunted slashers like so much better, but it's just not that. Like I get there's also like the fucking thing that's like slashers are transparent. Like it's very hard to see them in dark. I feel like that adds a bit to it. It's just like, you know, like just make it so you hit more people. Okay, you can actually kill a slasher as a hunter, like single-handedly. Just please, okay. Okay, next up is Freeze. Freeze is kind of a doozy. Maybe I'm just becoming a lot more doozy-ish over this recording session because I've been talking for like an hour straight and I'm like really not used to that. Like, maybe I'm just tired, but Freeze, what should I say about you? Freeze, Freeze, okay. I think Freeze has a lot of value from actually being able to kill. No. I Freeze tag is another one of those like core pillar modes where it's just like
you're not gonna have freeze tag and tag. Like that's kind of like what people know tag for. Like it's pretty much like always gonna be there. I feel like people's biggest complaints with freeze is the camping thing and also just being abandoned. Like I don't think there's any way of getting across being abandoned. Like that's just what's gonna be happen. It doesn't feel good. Like if you're in a group if you're like playing tag in real life and you get abandoned, that feels really stinky because it's like especially like with the low amount of people, you're like kind of fine. Like if they get tagged, it's fine. But it's like if they just leave you, right? That doesn't feel good at all. And since there's more people, you have like a less of a duty to like actually save people. So it's like, why save people to begin with? Just let them die, you know. I'm like freeze tag. Freeze tag has always been like it's really good for like grinding tags and grinding coins. Like that's probably the most amount of use you're gonna get out of it. Like that's how much it's been. At least in like fucking Legacy Freeze, where you're like the freezers are literally like they can literally get no one frozen. Like it's very hard to win in Legacy Freeze. I think Legacy Freeze is best for private servers, but normal Freeze, I feel like a lot of people give it slack for camping, which I get why it can be frustrating. I really do. It's like it's probably the best thing ever. It's probably like the best strategy you have in Freeze, which is why people use it so much. Like it's certainly not. It's a lot harder to actually camp in UTG than like in actual tag. I hope you know that because you can't like reliably like tag people. But Freeze honestly just kind of like I feel like this is mostly the games with progression where you're like it's taggers versus runners where it's just like if you're a runner like you really don't have that much like motivation to actually like be caught. Like there's not a much of that like incentive, which I think is a common theme among like all of the tagger versus runner modes. Like you're pretty much just safe for the rest of the game if you just sit out there, because most of it is like thawing and freezing waters, which is really interesting, mind you. I just feel like it just doesn't have that much value. Like deadass, bring back 16-player servers. Like seriously, like there should be servers specifically for 16 people. Because I feel like that makes a lot of the tagger runner role, or not the team of taggers versus to like tag a bunch of runners. I feel like that makes those modes a lot more fun. But I feel like it's just a problem with Freeze in general, and just like how people go about Freeze. Like it's mostly a gameplay thing. But by design, I definitely get why like people think it's unfair. I think the biggest thing like sort of surrounding Freeze is just sort of like camp, no camp, like those sort of like debate, because a lot of people really hate camping, right? Because like a lot of people hate camping, like it's like a universal thing, but like camping is sort of like needed in tag, which is like there isn't really good way to go around camping other than like they don't take health, which I guess honestly like deadass. Like, because they have a way to, like, actually, like, damage them manually, I feel like if you're damaging them manually, you shouldn't have the decay on top of that. I feel like that's, like, dead ass. Like, if you're, like, near a certain point, you don't decay health, and you have to hit them manually. I feel like that could actually work, because freezers, like, their best way of camping is, like, hitting the frozen people to actually like get to like deal more damage. I feel like that should be their only form of damage, honestly. Like if you're gonna camp, you should just tag them, and like that kind of like splits off of like I don't know, like they're not really that effective to begin with. Like there's always gonna be a good tagger that's gonna be like ruin your plans, but I feel like the losing your health, if it's like a chiller, right? They're not even going to do anything, they're just sitting there. I feel like that, like, it should, like, at least decay the health, and, like, freezers should just nullify the health decay, like, just completely. Like, chillers should, like, make the health decay, like, slower, sort of, you know? Or, like, lower. But aside from that, like, that really, it's just sort of a their mode, you know? It's just kind of there. I would like it if it was there. It's just not really anything to call home about. It's like sort of another version of like info, but it's just like slightly more infuriating. I would put it B, below infected, just like below normal, infected, above crown. Oh, the misprints. What are the freeze misprints, anyways? We've got flame. I haven't thought about flame. I've actually played a lot of games in it. From my experience with it, I've only played like 1 or 2 games with flame. It has a lot of that like speed classic funny bomb vibe where you're like really fast. And I think that could work on some maps, and that could just not work on some mode. That's just a factor with like those types of modes where you're going really fast. Like, it works on some maps, it just really doesn't work on other maps, like, at all. Flame is honestly really fun. Like, it has the same, like, kind of, like, feeling as Freeze, where you're like, no one's gonna come save you. But you have a lot more autonomy in, like, where you go. Like, you can actually go to the runners, and I feel like that can have, like, a lot more strategy, or, like, a lot more variety to Freeze in general. And I think because of that, it's like probably a tier, like a tier above. It still has a lot of like the same issues as Freeze, just without the camping. Like really, that's the only thing it doesn't have. Like even more, right? Like the flames can just go to you. Like you don't even have to move. Like fucking runner apathy, you know. Actually, that's a good name to call it, runner apathy. Yeah, hell yeah, runner apathy. That goes hard. Yeah, but like I would probably put it like lower tier. Like it's alright. It's cool. It's cool. I'll say. Team Freeze. I really like the team modes. I really think there should be more team variants of modes, just because like it gives you people to root for. Well, not really for Team Freeze's like thing, because it's just team swap, but like you get frozen, which like. It honestly really works because, like, you're not just camping. You're also, like, trying to free other people. So that's, like... And also, I guess, yeah, you don't have the thing where it's, like, you're able to, like, damage people manually. Like, that's not a thing. You have to, like... You're basically just all chillers, which I think is, like, a really fun idea. You don't even have that aspect to you. Like, constant, like, freeze wars for, like, Team Freeze is honestly... a lot more fun than like normal Freeze. I genuinely might put it like above Flame, just because it's like it just brings a lot more variety to Freeze that isn't there in like base Freeze, because of the tagger runner dynamic, which I feel like isn't the best for tag. Like I get why it's there. It's just like, especially in like larger servers, larger maps, that kind of dynamic like really makes running feel boring. Like maybe I'm just not the best runner. Maybe I just don't feel good about running. But like, there's not a lot like actively on your plate as a runner when you're in like a tag versus runner route versus like other more like equal modes. I'd say maybe that's just my nitpick of that sort of like category of modes in general. But I digress. It's still fun. It's still fine. What else? Oh, we got fucking FFA. FFA is really underrated. I'm not good at FFA. I will never be good at FFA. I like the 1v1s just like conceptually, just because it's like it's so equal. Like it's honestly one of the better modes, just because everyone's like on such equal playing fields. It's like it's an elimination mode, but it's like you're kind of just sitting there. The thing is like. You also benefit a ton from just sitting there, which is like a really bad thing about FFA. I feel like you can make a lot of misprints that like try to like combat that issue, which honestly, like that's a really fun thing about misprints, whereas like you're trying to make misprints to combat like issues about the original game mode, which I feel like it's probably the best way you're gonna tackle a misprint. Like fucking like Vampire FFA, fucking like I can't think of anything else, but it's just like maybe it's like a decay. You have to kill people like constantly to feel like a quota or something. I don't know, that would be fun.
Try hard FFA. They should make a 12 team and a 24 team variant of try hard FFA just for like private servers. Like genuinely, like it's. I don't even think it should be called FFA. Like, just call it Team Swap. Team Deathmatch. Just call it Team Deathmatch. That's what it is. That's literally what it is. Just call it Team Deathmatch, not FFA. It just makes it even more, like, confusing. Because, like, really, if you're going on an FFA aspect, like, tryhard FFA is just FFA, but you both get NTP, which I guess would count, but it's like... I don't know, it should be it sounds like Team Deathmatch is like its original mode. Like, you should just make it a Team Deathmatch mode, you know? Like, I don't know. And I also feel like the fucking arena shrinking FFA, beside FFA, that definitely needs a return in Legacy. Like, it would be really fun to see the arena shrink. Maybe like customized for each mode. Like tailored for each mode. Maybe it's like their like borders are shrinking. Like especially in like the fucking Santa Stronghold, there was like a random nice point. But it's still a lot better. Maybe I don't know. I feel like arena FFA would be really fun if it's like, if it has a stopping point, because like I know in Legacy it doesn't really have a stopping point, which could be like really bad. Like it just feels kind of unpolished. Just not unpolished, but it's just like it's just iffy, you know. It feels iffy when it's like infinitely shrinking. But I really like FFA. Like that's honestly a big A tier mode. Like FFA A tier, tryhard FFA probably still A tier. Maybe a bit higher because it's just like the teamwork aspect of it a bit. But it should be Team Deathmatch, honestly. Tryhard FFA should be Team Deathmatch. And this should also have like 12 team, 24 team variants. Like seriously, come on. This is not that hard. You know, you could just change a couple things, add a couple things, you know, boom, shakalaka. You got two different modes now, yay. Like, you don't even have to update it. It's a private server thing, so. Yeah. I feel like we should go Juggernaut. Because Juggernaut is a fucking big ol' hole of shit to talk about. You got so much stuff to talk about with Juggernaut. A lot of people hate Juggernaut in Legacy. I don't know, like, what the census is in Recode. I think, like, there's a lot of people who really don't like it, just like in Legacy, but it's, like, it's not as universally hated. Like, there's Juggernaut fans, which I really admire, because I definitely get why Juggernaut is hated. Like, people really like Juggernaut a lot better than Legacy, which is surprising, because it's, like, it's the same mode, but it's just, like, it's just got a new audience of people. Like, maybe that's just because it's so, like, echo chambery that, like, Jug is so, like, universally hated. Maybe it's just because I've just lived in the echo chamber of, like, fuck Jug for so long that, like, seeing people who actually, like, don't share that opinion is, like, such a breath of fresh air. Like, seriously. I feel like that's what Crown is sort of turning into. Like, an echo chamber of, like, Crown lovers versus Crown haters. Like, that's definitely, like, an echo chamber. Juggernaut, I think it's really fun. Like, despite everything, it's the only mode where you're, like, constantly chasing one person, where you're constantly, like, trying to outsmart another person. And I feel like that really has a lot of value. I'm not a big fan of the 3-team, of it, like, with more than one Juggernaut. Like, I guess that can, like, split people up. But with, like, 3 Juggernaut, it's just, like, I think it's probably enough, but it's just, like, there's always gonna be a Juggernaut that just lives through the entire game because no one's chasing them. Or, like, a small amount of people who aren't good at the game are just chasing them. And there's, like, that's just an inherent part of Juggernaut that you can't really fix, other than, like, divvying people up, like, immediately, like assigning them to their own individual Juggernaut, which I feel like could be a fun misprint. But normal Juggernaut-wise, it's just, like, I feel like just for that outsmarting aspect of, like, one person against everyone, and that's just kind of just
there. It's a very long mode. It's very much like you only get the feeling of having been experiencing Juggernaut if you're like constantly on the chase. I feel like it's very much a constant chase that's like mandatory, unlike Crown. You also have loafers, but that's just the same thing with like one person versus every person mode. Juggernaut is really fun to be chased, especially because you aren't as fragile as Crown. You get to feel a lot of that adrenaline even more if you don't suck. Actually, I haven't seen any battle jugs usually, but battle jugging is it's really fun if you're good at the game. But it's like you can really easily like pick off like a small group of people who like chase you. Like genuinely, people should like actually try to be more strategic with Juggernaut, other than like just trying to run the entire time. Like that's a really fun like aspect of Juggernaut that I don't feel a lot of people like think about or use. I don't know, it has potential. It really does have potential. It's just like I've lived in an echo chamber of like people hating Jug so much that like having that not be the case that much for Recode is honestly like such whiplash, I feel. Do I have to talk about the comp jug modes and the Juggernaut B-sides? The Juggernaut B-sides? I don't know. Like the current Jug misprints are so like Juggernaut misprints have always been like they're so big because they never like do what other game mode misprints do, where they like do something big. It's always like very, very minor things. Like Combat Juggernaut is just like they hit more, right? They hit in 2 hits, which is like I get that's like a sword effect, but it's like why don't you do that for main Jug? Why is that different? Like it should like they should just deadass name a Juggernaut, but you hit in 2 hits. Like that's just what it does, and also just like make that a rule in normal Juggernaut, like experimental, and like see if you can change it otherwise. Like you can change modes like on the fly, right? Like it doesn't have to be a completely new mode, because like you can't test stuff out for modes and balancing if you like don't actually like test it with like actual people. Like I feel like that's what a lot of the Juggernaut misprints are, aside from like B-side Juggernaut from Legacy, which is like it's just to fill the quota of a B-side. And it's like kind of weird, very weird misprint. A lot of people don't know what it does, which is fair because it's just like conceptually it's like very hard to describe, right? For Combat and Comp Juggernaut, I feel like are really fun for like experimenting with the different parts of Jug, but it's like if you're experimenting, you should just like make it a part of normal Jug, or just like describe what you're talking about. Like oh my god, it's like experimental misprints. Just like misprints that are like experimenting for different aspects of like the normal thing, I feel like would be really cool. But like as a separate mode, especially when people are like asking like what is this, when you're like naming it so like vaguely, I feel like that's a big like drawback to it. Like Riker said it sucks. Riker said like they don't really do that much, which I feel like that's because you were advertising it as a separate mode when you really should be advertising it or like portraying it as just Juggernaut, but this. Like, I know that you can say that for every misprint, but I was like, I feel like you shouldn't give Comp Juggernaut and Combat Juggernaut their own unique titles, because they detracted from it so much, because really, at the end of the day, what those modes are they're just like experimenting with like normal Jug and just like seeing what pops, right? Like, that's essentially all it is, and I would really like to see that experiment be played out. It's just like, I really don't think, like, it should be... I really don't think that, like, establishing it as a new mode really, like, has that much value to it. Juggernaut itself is, like, I would say C tier. Like, it's fine. It's above Classic. It's above all the other C tier modes. But it's just there, you know? I have fun when it's there. I'm just, like, not actively seeking for it, you know? Like, when I see Jug, I still have that, like, mind of, like, oh, no, Jug. When it's, like, really, it's really not that bad. But, like, I'm, like, trained to, like, hate it. You know, but like deadass, you should rename Comp Juggernaut to Juggernaut, but Juggernauts don't have innate speed. Like you should make it so that they're like experimental, like balancing changes to modes instead of like actual new modes, like the genuinely. like Juggernaut, but they can kill in 2 hits instead of 3, which is like a really long name, but it's like I feel like you can get it like across. Like maybe you can like start a new category of misprints called like experimental misprints, and that's just like this is supposed to like test like what an actual mode is, because you have the messages, you have the update logs and shit. You can like tell people that, you know. Okay, let's do the team modes next. Oh, the team modes. What can I say about the team modes? The team modes are honestly like really fun. Like they're probably the most fun you're gonna have, because it just has this like, it's a lot more equal in like, I feel like you're a lot more like on equal standing grounds than other modes. So like you kind of have like, I don't say like inherently, but it's just like there's a lot more of like you're tagging, but you're also like running at the same time, and I feel like that's just like usually a bit better or like a bit funner. Like other ones, not that much though, but it's fun. I feel like Team Swap is like easy A tier. Mainly just because it has that like you're tagging but you're also being tagged type aesthetic, not aesthetic but like vibe. I feel I can tell that like changing allegiances so often kind of makes you feel like you've got less of like a team pride or like a less of a attachment to being tagged, which could be really bad. But it kind of works, like because it's so like it's been going for so long. It kind of works because it's like it's honestly a really good mode. Like I would put it A tier. I forgot what other modes I put in A tier, but probably like the highest of them so far. Same thing with four-way. Four-way is like team swap but better, I feel like. Even though like it eventually collapses into four-way, into like two-way team swap, I feel like just having more teams in the mix, like that adds a lot more variety because you've got more competition. Like, I mean, like deadass, fucking 12 team, 24 team swap. When is it gonna happen, huh? When are you gonna make it, huh? When's it gonna be real? When's 12 team swap coming out? Like, what happened to 16 team swap? You know, like what happened to that? Like, I want to see that come back. You know, like even though it doesn't have that much like of a change as a misprint, I feel like really there's no reason for it not to be a misprint. You know, same thing with 6-way team deathmatch. Like that should really be a thing. I don't know about 3-way though. Like 3-way, that feels irrelevant. But just 6-way, yeah, that feels like a good number. Team deathmatch, it feels like FFA but teams, and it's like a thing I love about team deathmatch is like you can like literally like after you're dead, you can like spectate people to like root for them, you know, which I feel like is a thing that like people really like. It's a very underrated part about team deathmatch. Like if your team wins and you're dead, you should still win because it's like your team that's won, you know. And that's also why I like team deathmatch, mainly because you're able to like you can just like, a thing with team swap and team deathmatch is that it's like you can like turn an eye and then your entire team is just dead, or like the other team is just dead, and it's like, oh, I didn't see that coming. You know. That's the thing. That's not really like, that's just inherently like the way it is. That's not really a big problem. It's just like just a fact. That's also for team deathmatch where it's like you can just like win unexpectedly. Not so much for 4-way, just because there's a lot more of like a buffer until that like endpoint actually happens. 4-way team deathmatch is also like a lot more stronger, and like you have like more of an allegiance to your team, other than like rather than team swap. You should please just make 6-way, make 12-way, make 12-way, make 24-way. Okay, just please, like please. I've been begging that for so long. Just please. You can also do duos for team deathmatch. Honestly, that could work. Like somehow you can make it work though. What's the other one? Oh, team domination. Actually, what do I say about team domination? It's honestly really fun. Like from my understanding of how it works, it's honestly a really fun combo of team swap and team deathmatch. like having the captains is like a really fun thing. Maybe a thing I would change is like maybe if you tag your own captain, you get the captain role. But that feels like that could be like a misprint of that mode. Honestly, like misprint of misprints. Yeah, misprints are like really like what is the team domination a misprint of? Like, is it both modes? Like, is it a shared misprint? I don't know. But like, it sounds like really dang solid. Like, being able to like just combine these two modes that like work really well on their own, but it's like when combined, when meshed together, like there's not really anything like, you know, like it's like really fluidly meshed together. Like I feel like it works really dang well. Yeah, I mean like it's a really dang solid mode. Like I would put all the team modes on like A tier, team domination like slightly higher, maybe like team domination, team deathmatch, and then team swap. And then it's like FFA is below team deathmatch, I feel. Maybe team swap's probably B. I would probably put team swap B. Actually no, I put team deathmatch 2-ways. I put all the 2-ways in B tier, all the 4-ways in A tier, and then the 6-ways. Nah, the 6-way even public anymore. I don't even know if it is. Oh god. Yeah, I don't even know if 6-way is even public anymore, which is a shame because I really liked it. But I'd probably do FFA, 4-way TDM, 4-way team swap. Maybe that's my order. Oh yes, and then we have team paintball. Team paintball is honestly not that special. It's just team swap with paintball guns, which I feel like at this point should be a misprint. But I get that it's like experimenting with like the use of items in like main modes, which I feel like it could work. Yeah, like paintball like really works for like a team mode. Like I feel like team swap or team deathmatch is a really good like starting place for paintball. It's also really chaotic because of you aren't like immediately tagged, right? You wait a bit and then you're killed. I feel like that's a really like big difference between like how it actually feels. But in general, I like team paintball deathmatch a lot more because it's not infinite, and like I get that it's like you don't have any like feeling when it's like infinite. You're just kind of just killing each other. I feel like that honestly works a ton best because you're basically just killing people like for fun. Like I feel like that's like the best value team paintball deathmatch has. But like in public service, right? There should totally be like a points thing for like who gets more kills. Like deadass, that should just be its own team mode, and also like just better for team paintball deathmatch, you know. But like deadass, like team paintball deathmatch has a lot of like potential and like private service because of its like infinite like dying thing, or it's like you don't even have to use paintball. You can like use other weapons, or you can just go tag, right? And it's like you're kind of just killing people over and over again, and that's honestly really fun. Like experiencing like endless like just killing each other, like in like different scenarios and different circumstances is honestly like really dang fun for like private servers. Like that's a really unexplored, and it just has so much potential for like private service shenanigans. I really wish there could be a lot more like team paintball deathmatch like private server settings. Like you can do 4-way, 6-way. And fucking the 4-way roles are in like team paintball deathmatch. They just don't work yet, which is like so infuriating. Because why would you put a role in there that doesn't work yet, huh? In the actual mode. It just doesn't work, which is like so infuriating. Because it could like so easily work, and they could make it so easily, but it's just been shafted aside, you know, because not that many people care about like the design of game modes and the actual dev team. Like it's just Riker, and Riker's Riker, you know, he's doing what he's doing. He just does what he does on a whim, so it's very hard to like actually like if there's anything that just hasn't been done is probably forgotten, like genuinely. I would really want to see team paintball deathmatch come back though, like maybe in another form, like given points would be so awesome for team paintball TDM. Maybe I should call it TPTDM. Like at this point, like it's such a long word. TPTDM. That just sounds better. But you could do like FFA with team paintball. Like endless FFA. That would be so fun. Like endless FFA, like 6-way FFA, endless like brawl. You could do endless almost like endless like all of the kill people modes. I don't know. It's just so much potential that just hasn't gotten used yet because it's like kind of just like an old game mode that's just kind of broken, which is it's a big shame. I really feel like you could do us like so much more with it. Yeah. What else we have? What else? What haven't I done yet? Have I done every single one of them except for Chaos? I think Chaos might be the last one. Oh my god, we're finally through with it. After so long, after an hour and 30 minutes, we finally reached like the last 2 modes that I want to talk about. Actually, like 3, maybe. Do I want to talk about Toxic? I don't know. Maybe I should save Chaos for the very last and talk about Elimination now. Elimination is my baby. Like, I feel I have Elimination close to my heart because I was the one who originally suggested it for Legacy when it came out. When it was like added to Legacy as like a new mode for just on a whim. It's honestly changed a lot over the years. It's kind of like it's very different from how it was originally, which is like it doesn't really have that much of an identity. Like Elimination was like originally supposed to be like a slasher swap type deal, where it's like you're a slasher but like you're just pretty much just like a slasher, except you get like swapped and you turn into a runner midway. I feel like that's a really good like mode, just inherently, and that's what Elimination originally started out as. But then you have, I guess, like B Elimination, which is just like if you kill someone, you turn into a runner. The original mode had like a lot of issues with it because they never like built in the you don't get duplicates system. Probably because Riker never figured it out because Legacy is like really, really spaghetti cody. Yeah, but then you have the B side. I think there's a lot of it's mostly just the changes in Rico that kind of like really change its identity from like being a duplicate of slasher to just kind of like bomb but more slashery. Like essentially how it works is just like now there's a new thing where it's like if you don't kill anyone you die, which is kind of the same thing they did for B-side bomb. Honestly, like Elimination and B-side bomb honestly have a lot of similarities, like more than you'd think, because they have like the if you don't kill anyone, like you basically only kill one person per round, and if you don't kill anyone you're kind of dead. It kind of feels like that, but it's just more of a direct tag. I don't know why it got removed, maybe because it felt so similar to Bomb, but that's really because it's like its identity as like really Ship of Theseus itself to being a Bomb clone. Like originally it wasn't really that similar to Bomb, but it kind of just became that over time. It's very similar to like B-side Bomb though. I feel like Elimination could work as a Bomb misprint. It could work, maybe. I really want to see the slasher swap idea get like put back though. Maybe as like a TDM type thing, where it's like one team kills another, and then like there's like one team kills another, and then like they swap sides, sorta. Maybe as like a point thing, maybe as like a permadeath thing. I don't know. I feel like I really, really want that original idea to come back. But like Elimination, honestly, it didn't deserve to go. I love Elimination. Elimination is so kooky. Like really, it's the instant death that's like really sudden for a lot of people. I feel like people should get like highlights for eliminators mostly. That's a really experimental thing. I don't know if it could work well, but I feel like if you have like a lot of like for like a kill that's as sudden as like a one-hit kill, I feel like that's kind of needed because like you can just kind of just die on the spot. It's like, oh, I'm dead in Elimination, which is probably why I got deleted, but genuinely just make it a bomb misprint at this point, like actually. and then you could have like slasher swapping and like a TDM thing, you know. That's all honestly like most of the things I have to say for elimination. And then toxic. Toxic is also like a really fun idea by concept. Just like the biggest like thing, like it has this reputation of just being awful. And that's just kind of like gone down as like what it most usually is, even though it's like concept wise and like execution wise, it's kind of alright. It's not that bad. Like genuinely. But like toxic has this sort of thing where it's like, how do you replace a person after they died, right? Like oh my god, it has like a cumulative delay, which I feel like could be interesting, but like the way it's handed out, like you're really at a disadvantage if you got low health. Like there's no way to really heal health, which I feel like it's not really a bad thing, right? It's just like I feel like that could make it slightly more fun, I guess. Maybe it's like it gets reset every time you get turned. Maybe, I don't know. Like there's still tons of things you could do with toxic. Like it's just like I don't like it being like so scrutinized because it's like so old and removed that people like just it sucks. And then the ending, you know, it's the ending. It's just spaghetti, like legacy spaghetti that could be like easily fixed in Recode, like genuinely. Like you could fix it so much in Recode. What else do you have? Oh yes, the last mode. Yes, the last mode that we haven't covered. I guess there's a couple of like private server exclusive ones that I haven't gone over. Like really, the only one is like a fucking assimilation. The legacy, the infected misprint, where you're infected but you're just blown towards. Oh, well, that's just like really experimental though. That like barely works. I would like it better if it was like a rope that didn't have like a maximum or something, you know? Like the fact that you're so like blown towards the person who attacked you is like really disruptive. And I feel like could it be not that? I don't actually know if it could be not that. Could it? I don't know if there's a version of it that's like not disruptive, but it's like the wind forces don't really do it that well. They don't do that well of a job, I'd say. But I don't know what you do with the simulations concept though. Like how to make it feasible and fun. That's the thing for mode creator. Like just people to like figure it out over time. Chaos. There's so much stuff you could do with chaos. That's really befitting for like the last mode. Okay. Chaos is a doozy because at this point it's like really non-functional because you don't even have win conditions, so it's kind of like a half-baked mode almost, like, because you don't have like the nuances in the win conditions. You don't have like how like once you've like finished, once all the runners have been tagged, you're just kind of just there for like the rest of the mode, which is like you just kind of left to chill, which is like there's not really like any pre-planned ending, which I think is probably just by design because it's so like confusingly made. It's just kind of like a hobbling together like all the different modes, which is yes, that's what it is. But it's like without the win conditions, there's like that's pretty much its biggest issue. You can honestly say a lot about chaos and how it's like built and designed. Many of the tag rolls don't do something. Many of the like the bomb really like if you know how to play bomb well, you can just keep it and just like take a roll that wins at the very end. Like that's really like being a runner is like the worst role. Like there's just like a lot of chaos as like depending on the role you're giving, you're either gonna have like a kind of a fun time for like the first couple of minutes and then like really not a fun time at all. Like especially if you're a runner, there's like really no hope for you to like become a tagger, which I feel like is a really big missed opportunity because you're just kind of just like there for like most of the role. I guess no, most like half the people are runners, aren't they? But you can do so much more if you just make it so that every role can tag every other role. Like every single role has their own different objectives and they're all like competing against each other sorta. Or
or like they've got like their separate interests, you know? Like I made a fucking chaos rework idea. Nobody read it because it was so long. Because I yap like that. Like I've yapped for so long today that I've gotten like physically tired from it. Like I feel like you could do so much with Chaos's idea. It's just like its current implementation. It's just really just not that. And it's like certain roles are like kind of boring without a win condition and just like without things to do. Like you're just kind of just fiddling there, you know, with Chaos. I I like just from like trying to design a chaos like type mode in general, I really feel like a lot of the stuff boils down to the win conditions and like engineering like things based off the win conditions, and also just like I really think that every mode should be able to like kill like every mode, every like role is like against every other role. I feel like that's really interesting. Like you have like these like so many different teams that do all these different things. It's gonna be a nightmare to balance. It's gonna be a nightmare to like fix and like just do things with. But like if you don't have the win conditions, you're just kind of stuck there. You know. I don't know. Like every person should just have like their win conditions. Like freezers, they shouldn't like freezers, slashers, all those people. They shouldn't be trying to kill runners. They should, you know, be trying to kill. They should just do their own things. You know, they should like. I've had this idea where it's like it's only the infecteds that want to kill the runners, and then it's like bombs. There's nothing with bombs. Like if you're the bomb, you can just kind of like keep the bomb, like hog it for yourself, and that's like it's not really anything stopping you. It's kind of like comp in that way, competitive. You have Tagger, which it would be really like just more interesting as like competitive. Crown, which you can only tag as a runner, which I feel like is kind of stupid. Like you should be able to have every role tag the ground because that's just like more fun for the crown, and also it's like if there's no more runners, like what's the crown gonna do? They're just gonna sit there. You know, it's just there's always gonna be no runners, right? And it's like freezers. What do freezers do? Freezers like just help every roll out. That's kind of lame. You should make it so that it's like they're like trying to protect someone. You know, like they've got one person they gotta protect. They just gotta like protect one role, one person, and that's it. Like everyone, like wants to stop them from winning. Like that's the thing. You gotta make every role want to stop every other role from winning. Like I feel like that's a really, really, really good thing to put into chaos. Just like inter-role interactability. There's also crown duplication, which is funny. It's just an overlook. Like people know about it. They know about it. The devs know about it. They just haven't gone around to fixing it yet, which is like. Actually, I just keep putting all this slack, but like I'm not that better, am I? I'm not better at all. I do the same thing, but worse. Yeah, but chaos could do so much more if it was just like built on the win conditions, or if it just had a lot more interactivity between roles. Like why can only one role tag everyone else? Not like why can't every other role tag this role, or why can't this role tag every other role? Like I feel like that could open up so much possibilities for just like how you can like incorporate everything and how you can just like incorporate like how things go, really. Like it's just such I don't know, like just like currently I just put in like C tier, B tier, low B tier, high C tier. I'd say it's like I would put low B tier. It's got kind of something going on with it. Not that much though, and it doesn't really last that long. But it's got more variety, like fucking classic. I don't know. Yeah, but that's probably my tier list. If I were to put elimination, I would put it probably like also like lower A tier or like high B tier. And then toxic is like I really want it to be good. It's just like inherently, it's just like I don't feel good playing it because like you just like lose health, and that's just kind of like it just kind of doesn't feel that good, you know. I'd probably put it like low C. I don't think I would put anything below D or F. I think those are like just modes that just don't work at all. Like legacy freeze. I don't think anything goes in outside though. Like there's no mode that like really stands out as me as like this shit like is the go. It's like it's all kind of fine to me. Like everything, of course, they have their issues. They have their strength, you know. But it's just like I'm not really strong towards anything. If it can like get me to like have like feel like that was like worth it. You know, like I enjoyed that. That's a really good mode. A lot of the A tier ones kind of do that. Like they've got a lot of value to them. Just like most modes are like kind of just stagnating. Like just design wise, it's very hard to design a tag mode. Even harder to like just design things for tag in general. It's like a very experimental thing. It's just a lot of trial and error. I don't like how there hasn't been much changes to modes yet. There haven't been much like things being tried for the modes, especially like the core modes. Like mostly things are just misprints. Like it's just adding more and more misprints, which I feel like is definitely like a good thing. Like adding misprints is a good thing because it just adds more variety. But like you should also like try to change the old modes. You know, like experiment with Juggernaut. You know, like try to incorporate comp jug or combat jug into like normal jug for like I don't know, like a week, and then see how people think about it. You know, you could do like polls and shit. You can like code in polls into the game to see how like people like shit and like experiment with like balancing and shit. Like that would be so awesome. Like I really, really wish they would do that. Maybe like later. Maybe not now. But it's just like I don't know. Like at the end of the day, all the modes are fine. Like, if you're playing the same 10, 12 modes for over and over, of course it's gonna get boring. Of course they're gonna, like, lose their, like, flair on you. A lot of these are, like, the misprints have a lot more, like, newer type vibe, but they're also, like, a lot more jankier. Like, probably less janky than the B-sides, honestly. The B-sides are, like, more janky. But they all have their own, like, vibe of jankiness. Just design-wise that haven't been, like, really fully fleshed out yet, which is, like, pretty universal across, like, all the modes, honestly. Yeah, I mean, like, that's just kind of all I have to say. I'm really sorry for talking for, like, 45 minutes. I guess this is, like, the normal time that someone would be talking for this long. It's just like, I'm just not used to talking for this long, and also I'm just, like, my sense of, like, speech is very, like, you can definitely tell, right? My sense of speech is, like, very disjointed and hard to heal, so... it's very hard to listen to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for making you sit through this, but really, that's all I got to think about it. Like, I don't get why people, like, in general, like, really hate modes or really like modes. I feel like, really, you're going off of, like, the least best reasons. Like, you should just take a thing objectively and just realize that everything is just a mix. Like, everything is good and bad, and it's just, like, how much outweighs what, you know? Not, like, fucking stupid-ass reasons as, like, I like Crown because it's sardines. And it's like, how is it sardines? Well, it's not really sardines, but it's kind of like that. You know, that's stupid. And also, like, people who, like, threaten people over other modes, like, their opinions. Like, fuck that, man. You're stupid. Well, not really. You're misguided. I'll say that. You can just, like, please just stop. Like, please just stop being so, like, fumigated. Or, like, so, like, angry over mode opinions. It really doesn't matter. Like, people like what they like. And, like, that's just the best thing about, like, just sort of, like, community. Because you get this, like, really easy, like, changeability in, like, these, like, tier lists and shit. It's real fun to, like, just talk about modes. I really wish I could talk about modes in a more, like, civil manner. That's kind of why I'm doing this, honestly. It's just, like, I just want an opportunity to, like, actually, like, talk about mode design and shit. Instead of, like, oh, this shit sucks because, it shouldn't be tagged. Like, paintball sucks because you use paintballs and not your hands. And that's, like, the stupid-ass reason ever. That's, like, fucking tag purity. Fuck that, you know? But, yeah, it's just... I just wanted to just explain just my thoughts on every mode. It's, like... Especially, like, when you're doing this for this long, it's, like, it's very hard to really coordinate yourself doing it, but I'm fine. It's been a fun time. Hopefully you had a lot of fun time listening to me talk about this. I don't think anyone will, like, be able to reach this. So it's, like, if you've gone that far, you should, like, send me a message. Say, like, hey, I listened to your entire thing. And it's, like... Gubu Chubu, you know, like if you listen this far, say Gugu Chubu or something. I don't know. That's stupid as fuck. Don't do that. I don't know. I just want to yap. You know, maybe I should just do more yap sessions. I'm definitely not used to yapping for this long. maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Who knows? You know. But it's just a fun time. I had fun, even though I'm like really, really tired. But have fun. Like live your life. Have a fun day. I'll be here.